Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Real Film Talk. My name is Will Braunlich, and this show covers everything, from movies to TV shows, and even editorials. Today, we will take a look at a movie that just may be the frontrunner for Best Animated Feature at this year's Academy Awards. We will take a look at Guillermo Del Toro's Pinocchio. Here is my reaction for the trailer. Alright, now we will take a look at Guillermo Del Toro's Pineapple Chia Pet. Pinocchio.
I want to tell you a story. It's a story you may think you know, but you don't.
Oh, do we?
Over there! What is that?
Shape of Water and Pan's Labyrinth, great movies.
It speaks!
He's just a puppet!
No, I'm not. I'm a real boy!
There's a nose growing.
People are sometimes afraid of things they don't know.
I don't understand.
Oh, you will.
Ah, we have found him, our star.
I guess that's our Honest John.
Pinocchio. Pinocchio!
I have something I'd like to give you. It is a school book which belonged to a very special boy.
The boy you lost? Papa!
Enough of this nonsense.
Hey, where are you going?
You tell him I love him,
Aww.
and I won't be a burden anymore. Hello?
The wooden boy with the borrowed soul. While you may have eternal life,
Oh, okay, that's a pretty
your
cool
loved
design.
ones, they do not. You never know how long you have with someone.
That's a very
until
nice
they're
visual.
gone.
The boy loves you for who you are.
Guide him to be good.
I'll put the poor cricket.
Stop! Don't hurt him anymore.
You may have no strength, but I control you. Please bring him back to me.
There's, I guess, what Monstro is supposed to be. Wow, that's quite a cast.
Life is such a wonderful gift.
Guillermo Del Toro's Pinocchio. Oh, and select theaters too. Ooh, I wish I knew that. I love the animation. I really think stop motion animation is, I wouldn't say it's underrated. Well, I guess I could say it's underrated, because you don't really see too much of stop motion animation these days. Neither would you for 2D animation. It's mostly all computer generated. Now, yes, stop motion is technically computer generated, but you don't see it in this kind of format. I really liked, movies like Coraline and Kubo and the Two Strings and Nightmare Before Christmas. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing this one. And it looks like we had a pretty good cast. It looks like there's Finn Wolfhard, Kate Blanchett, Ewan McGregor. I mean, to get all these people together for this one movie, I think that's saying quite a bit. And I think that means you put a lot of faith and trust into your actors. Well, I guess that would make sense. I'm looking forward to giving you guys my thoughts, and I honestly think we could have a good one here. Guillermo Del Toro's Pinocchio is directed by who else? M. Night Shyamalan. Okay, no, I'm not really. But admit it, that would be a pretty good twist. This is directed by Guillermo Del Toro and also credits Mark Gustafsson. This movie features an all-star cast, as this tells the story of Geppetto, whose wish is granted when a puppet he builds comes to life and is given an opportunity to care for the puppet named Pinocchio. The story of Pinocchio is a story that told many times in the past. Some of you might be more familiar with the story through the Disney adaptation from 1940. And in my opinion, it's not that bad of a way to be introduced to the character. The Disney version is beloved by many, but also has some dark and twisted elements to it, taking source from the original source material. Yes, for those who may not know, Pinocchio was also a children's novel from 1883, written by Italian writer Carlo Collodi. It has the same formula we all know the character from. He's made of wood, comes to life, and his most famous part of his nose growing whenever he lies. There have been a lot of adaptations of the story over the years. The more recent ones being this one we will be covering, the live action adaptation from Disney starring Tom Hanks, and Pinocchio, A True Story, which is a movie that truly has to be seen to believe on how bad it is.
Father, when can I leave to be on my own?
There even is a made-for-television musical remake called Geppetto, starring Drew Carey and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. However, looking upon this version, it appears to be a much more serious version of the beloved fairy tale. After getting around to watching it, I can see why a lot of people like it and why it's a contender for Best Animated Feature at this year's Oscars. Let's take a look at the cast. We got Ewan McGregor playing Sebastian J. Cricket, not Jiminy, but Sebastian. He's known for his roles in the 2001 movie Moulin Rouge, Trainspotting, August, Osage County, and T2, Trainspotting. And sure, we can add it in his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars. He narrates throughout the movie, and there is one point where his narration doesn't quite make some sense. I can't say why because it involves spoilers, but that's my biggest criticism of the movie. If that's the only thing I didn't really like, compared to everything else, I can easily overlook that one small part. Aside from Ewan McGregor, we got David Bradley as Geppetto, who Harry Potter fans would know as Argus Filch, and he was also in the popular comedy Hot Fuzz. We also have Ron Perlman, John Turturro, Finn Wolfhard, who plays a boy Pinocchio meets as the story goes on. We see his character develop as he and Pinocchio start to form a friendship, and we see that they're really not that different from one another. Finn Wolfhard has been in some tremendous projects, like Stranger Things, It, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and now this. I see him having a tremendous future. The other big names include Cate Blanchett, Tim Blake Nelson, Christoph Waltz, Tilda Swinton, and even Tom Kenny is in this movie. Funny enough, he was in Pinocchio, A True Story. Kenny's role isn't very big, but when you find out who he is, it's a very strange casting choice, but I personally bought it. The movie doesn't hold back any punches in terms of being dark and bizarre. In fact, I did read in an interview from Guillermo Del Toro from Sci-Fi that he wanted to make this movie more politically focused. This movie takes place during World War II, and there's some haunting themes and images in this movie that I think succeed compared to the 1940 Disney classic. And as much as I love the Disney version, this version was honestly better. There's a scene involving the afterlife, which brings up probably my biggest praise for Del Toro, and that he succeeds as a visual storyteller. First 10 minutes doesn't have much dialogue, but through visuals alone and character expressions, it's very heart-wrenching, as is the whole movie from beginning to end. We get to know the characters, and the themes are really brought up, but really do come back into play, and not just one and done. I will say, if you see this movie and think it would be too scary for kids, yeah, I sort of agree with you on this. This probably won't be good for kids around 7 or 8, but maybe at least 10 or 11, perhaps a little older. But compared to the Pinocchio movies that came in the past, aside from the 1940 version, this was probably the best one. Del Toro took some risks with this movie, and it really paid off. This is actually the longest stop-motion animated film. There is a possibility that one of the characters is named after the man who wrote the original story in 1883. There's even some really good small attention to details, like how Pinocchio isn't completely finished and how one character has tears in their eyes. And for Del Toro's first animated film, I think this was a great job, and I really hope he does more in the future. In conclusion, this was a fantastic movie. A stellar cast with a tremendous story that takes some dark turns and really takes itself seriously. Some great visuals, and as stated before in my missing review, I've grown to really like the art of visual storytelling. I really like stop motion animation. Some of my favorites include Coraline, Kubo and the Two Strings, Chicken Run, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Isle of Dogs, and now Guillermo Del Toro's Pinocchio. I hope we see more stop motion animated movies, as I think it's pretty unique and could be one of the biggest things in filmmaking. This movie is on Netflix, and I very highly recommend seeing this. I showed this to a good friend of mine who loves Guillermo Del Toro, and he adored this movie. My somewhat early Oscar predictions is I think this will win Best Animated Feature. Will it win? Who knows? But I think the fact that it was nominated says a lot. I want to see this movie more and more. I think as time goes on, it will get better. In fact, we're actually going to have a first on this show. My grade for Guillermo Del Toro's Pinocchio will be an A+. Guys, thank you so much for watching this review. I really appreciate it. Hope you all enjoyed it. Until next time, this is Will Braunlich, and I will see you at the movies. Save a seat for me.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.